Have you ever felt like you have made some really terrible mistakes in your life? Like you've blundered something, or yeah, you've blundered beyond repair, and you don't know what to do about it. All we can do is look back at it and either just feel sad about it, or regret it, or wish you could amend it, but have absolutely no idea how you could do that. Well, I'm feeling the same way right now. Um, I'm feeling the same way. You're not alone, and right now it's a Sabbath evening, and I'm just reflecting on some of these things. And this verse then came to me, Proverbs chapter 19, verse 3. I wish to share it with you. It says, "The foolishness of man perverteth his way, and his heart fretteth against the Lord." In other words, because of our own foolishness, we pervert our ways. God has paved the way for us, everyone who comes into the world, despite the fact that the world is broken. God intends the best for us. And it's just unfortunate that because by our own actions and the decisions that we make, we pervert our own ways, or we destroy our own paths, or we damage our own opportunities beyond repair and beyond our recognition. And really, we just make terrible mistakes, some of which are painful, some of which cannot be recovered from, some of which we never really know what to do about them, to the point that even getting over it becomes very difficult. That's what this proverb is saying. And then it continues to say, "And his heart fretteth against the Lord." Or in other words, we make blunders in our lives, and then we turn around and then we blame God for it. Where was God? Where were you? Why didn't you what? Why didn't you what? This and that. Our heart fret against the Lord. And yet, it is our own foolishness that perverts our ways. So I'm remembering this verse not because I'm trying to blame God for my mistakes. I think I acknowledge them. I acknowledge my blunders. Where I fell short, I acknowledge that. And I'm sharing this with you to say, I think it is important to recognize that um, uh, that we recognize our own foolishness and then acknowledge it. Instead of blaming God about it, we should approach Him for help about it. To say, "Hey, Lord, my foolishness has perverted my path. My foolishness has perverted my way. Now please help me." So you wonder, how do you then do something like that? We find our answer in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understanding." Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on thy own understanding. And in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Let's listen to that carefully. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on thy own understanding. You see, our own understanding, or the things that we thought we knew, the things that we thought were right, because I know what I'm doing. I got this, I know what I'm doing. Every time we did that, we were leaning on our own understanding. And it was this own understanding that became the foolishness of men that perverted our way. We get it? Our own understanding was the foolishness that led to our way being perverted or being corrupted or being destroyed or damaged beyond all repair or beyond all recognition. So if we are going to recover from that, if we are going to remedy the situation, what we must do is trust in the Lord with all thine heart, or with all our hearts. We can't afford to hold back. We have to trust in the Lord with all our hearts. When we do that, it says, in all our ways, we must acknowledge Him. When you do that, in all our ways, we must acknowledge Him, and He will direct our paths. So first we trust in Him, and then acknowledge. We have acknowledged our foolishness. Now we have to acknowledge the Lord. Acknowledge Him in the sense that we realize and surrender that He will direct our paths. That's what we have to do. You see, you may have blundered beyond all recognition. Yes, you may have blundered beyond repair and really wrecked a lot of things and made a shipwreck either of life or of whatever it is that you may be struggling with. The way out of that is to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding, because our own understanding is foolishness. And then we acknowledge the Lord. And the way we acknowledge Him is, Lord, I made a mistake. Now I come before your throne of grace to ask for your help. Please help me. With what? With all my ways. In all my ways, I acknowledge you. When I wake up tomorrow and I go to work, when I wake up tomorrow and I go to church, when I go do this, when I try to reach out to this person, that person, or this and that, or to that person to apologize for this or that, Lord, I acknowledge that my own understanding will totally wreck this. So, therefore, I acknowledge that I need you to guide my way, to guide my path right now. That's what we learn from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6. That's what we learn. So when we do that surrender, that is the beginning of the journey to that recovery or to that healing, to the recognition that in as much as we were foolish at some point in time in the past, there is a God in heaven who cares for us more than we even care for ourselves, by the way. The interesting thing about this God is that He loves us more than we love ourselves, more than our own parents love us, more than our own friends love us. Because remember, when you blundered, your friends or whoever, they were the ones who were pointing their fingers at you. God didn't point a finger at you. He just acknowledged your nature, just pointed out the foolishness of men, perverted His ways. And then you blame me. Isn't it that's why when we sign contracts, we then say, there's that line in a contract that says, that puts blame on nature, that puts natural disaster blames or unforeseen things on God. That's what it is. When you sign that contract and you are saying, save for acts of God, basically that was your heart fretting against the Lord. So that is just there as an example. So the beginning to that healing, that is the path to follow. In all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. He'll be the great director in your life. Camera slides action in your life. Go to the left or to the right. The Bible says, what does that verse say? Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. That acknowledgement begins with us just looking into His word and learning from it. And then lastly, we take a look at Psalm 37 verse 23. It says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delighteth in his way. The steps of a good man are ordered. See, we have acknowledged him. Now we have to cooperate and let him order our steps. Step by step, step by step. From point A to point B, we have to let him order our steps. Because only when he orders our steps, then will he delight in our ways. If you look at it in the Hebrew, it shows there that it's actually what's the English word? It actually goes both ways. The Lord delights in our way, and we as well delight in his way that he has ordered us to take, because that is where we find our peace. That is where we find our peace in that path that he has provided for us. So when he says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way, that delight comes as a product of us first having acknowledged him and surrendered the direction we want to go into his care and into his direction, that he may order it for us. And then in verse 24 it says, though we fall, we will not be utterly cast down, for the Lord will uphold us with his hand. So God does not cause us to fall, by the way, because remember, what causes us to fall is our own foolishness. Why? Because we lean into our own understanding. Why do we lean into our own understanding? Because we think we know. We think we know better. We think we know better than God, and we think we know what is best for us, only to find out many years later that, man, we blundered. We totally blundered. So therefore, in that feeling that you may have made a mistake, don't despair in it. The best we can do under the circumstance, you have tried to repair it, you have sent through your apology, you have tried to mend bridges, you have tried to do corrections, and still the circumstance remain. All you can do is take all of that to the Lord in prayer and surrender it. You know, in the sanctuary, the Levitical system, people were required to bring sacrifices. There were 5 different types of sacrifices. One of the sacrifices that was brought to the sanctuary was called the burnt offering. So you take the animal, whether it's a calf or a sheep, you cut it up, you order it, clean it, wash it, order it, and then you put that on the altar, and then you burn all of it as a sweet savor unto the Lord. It was a symbol of full surrender or full consecration in service to God, or in acknowledgement of him, or in full surrender to him. So similarly, that thing that bothers you, that thing, whether it's the guilt, whether it's the sadness, whether it's all of that, you need to take all of that, take that and all that guilt, take all that sadness, take all those feelings, you take them and then you put them on the altar for a burnt offering, and then you burn all of it in full consecration, full submission, full surrender to God. And in doing that, then we will have acknowledged him, following which then he will then order our steps, and we will delight in the way that he'll provide for us, and he will delight in the way that we go. And if we do make a mistake, we will not be utterly cast down. We won't, because God promises that I will be with you all the way, even to the ends of the world, or to the ends of the earth. Indeed, he will be with us all the way. So therefore, there is a promise that is left to us, to acknowledge that God said he's going to be with us. So therefore, let us stop leaning into our own understanding. Let's stop trusting our own hearts, because remember, we're told that that our hearts are very foolish. They're wicked. I mean, the wickedness, who can know it? So therefore, that means the last person we should be trusting with our own future, with our own success, with our own desires, our own plans, is ourselves. It's not the next person, it's ourselves. And if we're going to do ourselves justice, we need to acknowledge the Lord and completely surrender. So therefore, take those feelings, take those failures, take those blunders, take all of that, all of it. Go look at Leviticus chapter 1 to chapter 7. I think it's chapter 1 and chapter 2 that talks about the burnt offering. And follow that process spiritually, not literally. I didn't say go start killing cows. No. Cut up that animal. Wash the inwards. Inspect all of them and find out where the blemish or the disease is, or where the error was, or where the fault was. And confess that before the Lord. And then you take all of that for a burnt offering before the Lord and burn all of it. And send your petition into the sanctuary above. Send it all into the sanctuary above. And come to the throne of grace, where we may obtain mercy to help in the time of need. Right now, you are in a time of need. And what you need is to overcome that feeling that, man, I made a mistake and I don't know what to do to fix it. You've tried everything, you failed. You tried to fix it, you couldn't fix it. You have tried to mend bridges can't be burned. The bridges can't be mended. Things have burned down. It's all gone to hell. So the only thing you can do is surrender. Take all of that, put it on the altar of burnt offering and submit that to the sanctuary above. After you submit it, leave it in the Lord's hand, and He will direct. He will order thy ways. He will order thy path, and you will delight in His way. I just thought to encourage you on that matter and pray that you find your healing, your joy, your peace, and you be recovered and be enabled to move on from that mistake that you have made. Because I understand the pain of it, because I have lived it as well. And now I have taken all of that and put it on the altar as a burnt offering to the Lord. I say, Lord, please help me. And as you put that on the altar, don't forget, you yourself must also put yourself there on that altar as a burnt offering. Nonetheless, have a lovely rest of the evening, the rest of the day, and in the new week tomorrow. God bless.